Ooh, I just burped through my nose. That's always weird.
Did it burn?
Man.
A little bit, but I didn't want it going into the mic.
Am I weird that, like, with Dr. Pepper, beer, or energy drinks, really, it's like when you do that burp through your nose, it sucks, but it's kind of soothing at the same time?
Yeah, that's
Does anybody else?
I don't think it's soothing. It just sucks.
Man.
You know, I never really evaluated that. I'm the next time I burp through my nose, I'm really going to savor it.
All right, James for Days podcast number 16, right? Am I right on the numbers?
Yep.
No, I always wonder about that.
Right on the money.
And this is actually a part 2. We did the 90s last week, which if you watched, you saw we were so excited and had so much to say that we ended up going into the hour marker and still don't feel like we quite got to.
How can you cover everything? You can't do it. No.
I mean, there's so much about the 90s to get into. And last time we talked a lot about video games and a few cartoons and things, but there's a lot of other things such as music, movies, fashion styles, all of that.
If I may, I think perhaps we should switch gears and talk about the socio-economic impact of the Glass-Steagall Act. I don't know if you guys have caught House of Cards yet, but I'm trying to work on my Southern Democrat voice.
Dude,
Frank Underwood, yeah. Jesse, if you cross me, I will not hesitate to push you in front of a train. Just saying.
I'm going to try not to cross you.
I really want to watch that. My girlfriend and I started watching it in the very opening scene. Spoiler alert, he kills a dog.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I don't like this show. Oh, because she's a huge animals person. So I haven't gotten into it yet, but I really want to see it. Like everyone.
Dude, yeah, I'm into season 2, and yeah, it's out of this world. He's pretty much like a political Tony Soprano. So.
And Kevin Spacey, is he a badass in that?
Oh, dude, no doubt.
Love Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Well, all right. I cannot wait to start that now. I know I'm getting excited. I got to finish Orange is the New Black, and then I'm going to start with it. So.
I still need to start Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, we got to get you into some modern pop culture.
I mean, what is so exciting about your life that you're not just living vicariously through all these television shows? I mean, my life is just like spaces between when I'm in front of the TV, just binging on these awesome shows.
How dare you have such a wonderful life that you don't need television?
I don't like it, Jesse.
Look,
I don't like it one bit.
3-year-olds are just wonderful.
You and your highfalutin life with your motherhood and your friends and your...
Can't stand it.
Minus the friends part.
Can't stand it.
That's true. You are kind of an awful person. But
well, going back into the 90s, which JP, I hope that the camera can see your T-shirt, but we need to make sure that it can, because that is probably one of the best incarnations of Batman.
Totally.
Time.
We'll take a picture afterwards. And
I wasn't absolute. This is kind of it was the same series, but it's a little bit of a reboot. Like he doesn't have the yellow, chest piece, but it's still like the same creative people.
Right,
so
yeah.
I bought it nonetheless. The image makes me happy.
The 90s Batman the animated series was awesome.
That's who I think of as Batman. Yeah.
That's what I used to watch every day when I got out of school. But, I didn't know this. Mark Hamill, I think is his name, the guy that did Luke Skywalker, was the voice of the Joker. He was the
Joker, absolutely. Definitive Joker right there.
All the way up through Arkham Asylum. And
he's voiced it,
The Arkham series was his last venture as the Joker, and he's done. But Luke Skywalker is the Joker.
Totally. I would have loved to have seen him do it live action. Like, right. I mean, hats off to Heath Ledger, but I just think that would have been a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I know it's not 90s, but what do y'all think about Jared Leto possibly portraying? I'm excited.
I've seen some images. I
saw the trailer. I'm feeling
excited, yeah.
He's really a good actor, though. I mean, Jared Leto's a very underrated actor. His music's kind of okay. It's out there, but it's okay. But his acting ability is really good. I mean, he's actually a really good actor, so I'm excited to see him. I just kicked Jesse's 90s show and tell. In case you want a hint of what it is. Can I kick it really hard?
Sure. What does that sound like? Does it sound like the 90s?
Is there Legos in there? Which Legos predate the 90s, but I think we all played with
it. No Legos. It's all girly stuff. I had to bring out the girly stuff.
Did you bring your Furby?
No.
What did you name your Furby? Oh, did you name Furbies, or are they all just Furby?
I think they came with a name.
Oh, really?
But I could be wrong.
I had a Furby for about a week, and now it still lives in my parents' shed. And, not even their good shed where they keep stuff that they use. It's an old shed in the corner of the yard where they put stuff to die.
You're kind of like old Tom Hanks in The Green Mile. You've still got Mr. Jangles out there in the shed pushing around his little spool.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Yeah. That was another good movie. That was a 90s movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It had to be 90s.
Right in the feels, man. That is such a good movie.
I love all the sappy movies from the 90s, man. Scent of a Woman, As Good as It Gets. I'm just a man. Have they made a good rom-com in the last 15 years? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No.
The 90s. Okay, so if I'm going to do this, which is going to be hard, I guess, to pinpoint. I should have given you all a list before. We should have went through it. But try to tell me, all right, number one, when you think of Batman, who do you think of, actor-wise?
I loved, as a kid, I loved Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even though that wasn't the best movie, I really like Val Kilmer. But, I mean, as an adult, I really like Michael Keaton.
I do, too.
Going back watching Batman Begins, I mean, it's not that I don't like them, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know.
They're just a lot. I think it's because we grew up with a cartoon, which honestly, the first two weren't necessarily as cartoony. But, Forever and then Batman and Robin were very much, to me, more like along the lines of the cartoon.
Right.
Whereas the first two were Tim Burton, so they were very unique. And then the ones after that were a lot grittier.
Yeah, the way I always put it, Tim Burton brought us into the comic book. He brought us into Batman's world, whereas Christopher Nolan brought Batman into our world.
That's a good way to
and
look at it.
I would much rather be in Batman's world. I mean,
that's a good way to look at it.
Not that we don't need a Batman. We absolutely need a Batman, but...
That's awesome. That's a good way to think about it.
And the awesome thing about the Batman from the Tim Burton movies, man, he was not going to hesitate to just off somebody. I mean, especially think about it. The Joker, the Joker's getting away. He's like, you know what? I'm going to shoot a grappling hook and tie him to a gargoyle. Who cares if he plummets to his death,
To which he does.
Let's take care of the Joker right now. He absolutely does. And some of the clown guys, the Penguin's henchmen in Batman Returns, I mean, one of them, he just throws his big bundle of dynamite back to him and pushes him down a manhole. And I don't think he survived being blown to pieces in a manhole. Another guy, he just spins the Batmobile around, hits him with the flames coming out of the back, and the dudes just incinerate it. And, I mean, let's not forget what happens to the Penguin himself. He definitely offs him. So, I'm changing my answer. Michael Keaton, definitely.
See, I
He's
like those
the Batman.
better because they just remind me of my childhood. Now, I do like Forever because it's got Jim Carrey in it. I'm a Jim Carrey fan. Anything he's in, I'm probably going to like for the most part. And cool thing, Tommy Lee Jones hated him during the filming of that movie. If you look it up, Tommy Lee Jones could not stand Jim Carrey. Said he was too goofy and just didn't like it.
I would imagine he's a tough personality to really,
And surprisingly, as much as I like Tommy Lee Jones, his best friend is Al Gore. So that's pretty interesting.
No kidding.
Yeah, look it up. They're good buddies.
I don't know about Al Gore, man.
He invented the internet, man, and Man Bear Pig.
Yeah.
You have to show him a little respect.
Yeah. All that like what's his big thing? The global warming stuff, and then he sells whatever he sold to the Al Jazeera thing. I don't want to get political. I don't know two things about but
it's Al Gore.
It seems a little too much, man.
I like Al Gore because Al Gore is the one person, regardless of which party you pull for, you can say nobody really takes Al Gore seriously.
Yeah, why would you?
Except for South Park. But okay, favorite cartoon of the 90s. What would it be? Rugrats?
Ren and Stimpy, but a close second's definitely Batman the Animated Series.
I don't know. That's really
Or maybe Doug.
See, mine would definitely be somewhere in the Nickelodeon universe, just because, I loved Batman the Animated Series. And I loved a lot of those different shows, but I really think I spent the most time watching Rugrats and Doug and Real Monsters, shows like that. I think the Nick universe would be my favorite. The whole thing as one would be. You remember All That?
Yeah.
It's like a child's version of Saturday Night Live.
That was some good sketch comedy, no doubt.
Do you guys remember that game show called Figure It Out with Summer Sanders?
I remember the name Summer Sanders.
Too.
I don't remember the show.
I definitely remember the name of it. I remember the one, something Curse of a Temple or something like that. What was that called?
Not Temple Run. That's a game.
You can definitely tell I did my homework. Oh boy,
I know exactly what you're talking about
too.
because it was kind of like American Gladiators almost.
Yeah, they would have
kids.
to go through the obstacle course, and the totem guys would attack them. And
what is the name of that show? It's
Yikes.
Temple something.
It's driving me crazy.
Google it. And get a little closer to your mic.
Yeah, no, but I had to be up on it like this.
It's okay. The Hunchback got mad love. It's a really dark tale, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Nicktoons universe will be my 90s cartoons. But there's a lot of good stuff that come out of Cartoon Network, too. Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
Yeah, not to mention the advent of Adult Swim. I mean, don't forget about that. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Tell me something here. I consider myself just a normal human being of average intelligence. Do you get any of the Adult Swim commercials at all, or are they just completely? Do you think that they, because is there actually some meaning to them, or do you think that they're actually just as random as they can possibly be?
I think unless you're you're doing, unless there's heavy drug use involved, I don't think you're really meant to understand.
Right.
So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
I was hoping. I told my friend Cameron, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something here. But
Yeah, if your consciousness isn't altered, then you're definitely not gonna.
Yeah, I
understand.
don't understand them.
Jesse,
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's got to be it.
All right, so musical artists. Okay, our styles evolve. I like now high school pretty much up. My music is generally like we were listening to Census Fail earlier.
Yeah.
And I was in like high school, after high school heaven. So I mean, I still listen to a lot of hard rock and stuff like that. But we all as kids, we listen to some things that we might not be as proud of now as adults. Jesse has more freedom than us guys because there's kind of like a macho. You're not supposed to have liked certain things.
Yeah, speak for yourself, pal. I still jam out to Counting Crows. All right, Mr. Jones and me. I can't really sing, but I love that song.
The Counting Crows are awesome.
It's been a long December, and there is reason to believe.
Jesse.
Hanson.
Are you serious? That was your 90s thing? I could see you being a Hanson.
Yeah.
I
was in
really
love
wasn't
with
a
Zach, the drummer. I was him for Halloween when I was in 5th or 6th grade.
Bop.
Like, I never really know what they're saying in that. It's just a lot of
who
doo-wops,
does? Yeah.
bops and doo-wops. I remember a show. Do y'all remember the show that was in the 90s where this guy's best friend had eaten something bad and it killed him, but he came back as a ghost? And he hung out with him all the time. It was on TGIF for a while.
Darn.
But the guy, he was like a teenager, and his best friend had eaten something old, and it like was just expired, and it killed him. And like you didn't see that. I mean, that was just in like the intro of the show. But he was a ghost that no one could see.
Was it a cartoon?
No, it was a show.
What?
And it was funny because on that he goes, "Oh yeah, man, I wish I was still alive. Those Hanson girls." And he even made kind of a crude joke, something like, "I've spent some time with that magazine or something." And he goes, "They're dudes, right?" The guy's like, "Oh my god."
Yikes.
I could see that happening.
I think I would ghost bone one of the Hansons. Definitely.
A good old ghost boning.
Yeah, why not?
There are actually Kesha says she's had sex with a ghost.
We've talked
Just
about
speaking
this
of ghosts.
before.
On here?
Yeah.
Really?
Sex with a ghost.
That's what she
That's what
says.
Kesha says.
I heard her talk about it in an interview one time.
I think
On Elvis Duran.
that's how the Antichrist ends up getting born, right?
I
I'm pretty
believe-
sure. I can't explain it, but that's the storyline from the first American Horror Story.
Is Kesha going to be the gateway for the Antichrist?
I think so. I don't know this Kesha person.
Oh, in the house?
Her
Yeah.
music,
Yes.
her music
Yes.
is incredibly catchy, and even if you don't want to like it,
She's going to die when she's 26. Or is it
Kesha's
27?
already 27.
She's
already
going to
lived- she
die.
lived past that.
Wait, is it 26? It's
The
26.
27 Club is where all. No, it's 27. Where all the people. No, she's still alive. Actually, I think she's probably 28 now. 27 or 28.
I'm 27 now. I was really hoping to join that club, but man, there's just so much left on Netflix I haven't watched yet.
Can't leave.
That might how I go out. I'll just get like a lot of heroin and a lot, just binge on Netflix until I keel over. Heroin and Netflix is going to do me in.
I like Netflix is kind of, Netflix's little, "Are you still there?" It's like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
when I've had
No,
enough.
I've OD'd on heroin. Leave me alone.
Go away, Netflix.
The fact, man, that just my laptop knows so much about me now. It's showing me ads for Rogaine and
What?
and other things I don't want to, and I'm not going to mention the other things
Isn't that the
pop
worst
up.
when your friends are like, "Can I use your computer?" It used to be as long as you knew you didn't leave anything bad up, you were fine. So when
Yeah.
they opened it up and there was no windows open, you're
But
like,
now,
"Okay, I'm
like-
good." Now you go to type and it's like, if the word is like, let's see, P, it's like Pornhub.com,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, not that I
No,
watch Pornhub.
Of course
I'm just
not.
saying I've seen a lot of this.
Well, now listen.
In popular
Let's
culture.
just be real here. If the internet were Main Street, and you knew that there was a little alley off Main Street where people were on the sidewalk having sex in every possible fashion, would you not at least glance down that alley? Of course you would.
As you walk by, you're going to look.
And we go down Main Street every day,
Some of us
internet
will live
wise.
there.
I
So
like this analogy.
I like it too.
It
I like
makes too much
JP's
sense.
analogies. That's two great analogies I've heard. The Batman and Christopher Nolan analogy, and now this.
Porno on Main Street.
I'm gonna take. I feel like that could be a album title. Porno on Main Street. All right, into the '90s. What was your style like?
Jinko jeans,
Okay,
big T-shirts, Adidas. I was a boy though, so I don't know.
you dressed more tomboy.
Yeah.
So I remember in high school you would wear it even, which that was
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
like
all
early
through high
2000s.
school.
That still was kind of reaming off of '90s
Right.
fashion. Baggier jeans.
Well, whenever I found a pair of Jinko jeans,
I still in my closet. I should have. If I would have thought about the '90s, I'm wearing camouflage. I mean, that's kind of late '90s, early
Yeah.
2000s. But if I would have thought about it, I have a pair of Jinko shorts that have survived the test of time.
Why didn't you wear those?
Whoa.
I've got 2 pair actually, but one's in really good shape. The other, but they're the shorts.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they still have the dude with the crazy hair and Jinko on it and everything. But yeah, and JP, what 90s JP look like?
You know, I mean, I went to a Catholic school, so, you know, uniforms, black shirt,
Mini skirt,
white, well, yeah, that too. So,
long socks.
I mean, basically just, you know, shorts and I didn't really have a style per se. I don't know that I even
Nobody
do now,
remembers these, I don't think. And I don't think you even remembered them. Do you remember the, like, this is bad to say. Like, I know, like, a guy in Creed wore one, but the guy off of the Goo Goo Dolls wore one. Those necklaces with the round metal balls.
Yeah.
Oh.
You remember those?
I wore those.
I did too. Do you remember how bad they sucked when it got really hot and they would like basically burn the back of your neck?
Oh, boy.
They were a really bad idea because they were chrome. So, I mean, basically, if you were outside in the hot summer day, like you could take them off and you would just have like blisters going across the back of your neck.
Yikes.
I used to wear those. Jinko t-shirts, Jinko jeans. Yeah, like 90s me was definitely much more of like a skater style.
Yeah.
Probably baggier clothes because let's face it. I mean, like now I just wear shirts that fit. But I mean, in like the 90s, baggier was the style. Like even people that weren't into rap wore baggier shirts. Your skaters and your rollerbladers and all extreme people still wore baggier stuff.
I had LA Gears. I definitely remember having those. You know, they lit up.
Yeah.
The light up heels. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
LA Gears were pretty sweet.
I had a LL Bean book bag.
Ow, you just
with the initials
read
with
my
the
mind.
initials on them.
I
My
tried
little
to
brother's
find mine.
here. He's 15. He's sitting over there. He's kind of on camera duty for us. Do people still have those LL Bean backpacks? They do with their initials on them?
Yeah, the girls do.
The girls do. See, the guys did too.
You can get them like lime green or teal blue.
Yeah, all kinds of weird colors. Yeah, I remember those. Those were everybody had those.
Yep, you weren't cool if you were rocking a JanSport.
Right?
I'm pretty sure that's what I had. So
That explains a lot.
thanks a lot, Jesse. Well, you and your highfalutin LL Bean.
Do y'all remember the Adidas 3-stripe?
Yep, that's
I didn't
used-
have them, but I
I
definitely
used to
remember.
rock those too. Those
I
were
had a
like late
pair.
90s into the 2000s.
Mine were white with like a light blue on it, but the light blue it was kind of shimmery. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yes, that's what I had.
That's awesome. I had those. Of course, a pair or two of Chucks. I remember I remember being in middle school and we had to get gym shoes for gym. Okay. And then, back in those days, I had Chucks, but I wore things more like Jordans and stuff like that. And I remember I needed some gym shoes, which typically you just went and bought some cheap shoes from like Walmart just to run around in the gym for like an hour or two. And you put your nice shoes back on. Well, my mom went out and got me some Chuck Taylor high tops. And I was like, Mom, you do realize that like we're wearing shorts in PE, right? I mean, which people wear that, and that's fine. But back then it was kind of like in a class full of people, like, what the f*** are you wearing? Like, what? I mean,
I think that's awesome.
But, now it's like a style. It's like a retro style. But then it just shows you how things shift. It's so funny how things that more like, not that I was a loser kid, but things that more were frowned upon then and like the loser kids wore still end up becoming like the fashion.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
it's kind of cool to be a loser now.
Yeah.
Am I
Oh,
right?
yeah. So we talked briefly about it, but, and I don't know if you did or not. I'm trying to think of things that all three of us can be involved in. Because I know when we talk about like Batman and stuff, Jesse's just
No,
kinda
yeah.
like,
You know what I feel like when you guys get to talking? I feel like that scene in Anchorman when all of them are sitting there and they're yelling because they're mad about the girl coming on board.
I don't know what we're yelling.
Yeah, he's like, loud noises! And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I totally understand this. Batman rules. Yeah.
All right. Well, did you play any video games as a kid? Like
I
any
don't-
on Nintendo?
No. I'm just going to go ahead and say no.
You probably had a creepy crawler machine, right, Jesse? You didn't.
Oh,
You
yes.
definitely didn't have an easy bake oven. You had the creepy crawlers.
I had.
Please
you
tell
remember
me
the ones
did.
you could eat? Like
I
you had
didn't
creepy
have
crawlers.
either
in
of
You could
there.
eat 'em?
You
Really?
Not the originals.
Yeah.
The originals were like plastic, but you actually ended up having like basically kind of like gummy worms type thing, where you could boys could make their own.
Was it
candy.
the same oven?
It was the same premise. I know that. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
it
if
was a
the same
different
one.
actual
Oh,
mechanism.
I
Yeah,
know
I think it
what
was
you're
a
talking
different
about
thing.
now.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't have
spiders
either
and the
of those.
scorpions. I've got
I could've-
3 remaining creepy crawlers. They sit on my microwave, and God only knows what happened to the actual machine and the trays. But
Creepy crawlers. Man, that was so awesome.
It was-
That's
yeah.
super 90s. I could have definitely seen Jesse with a
Yeah.
creepy crawler.
I remember wanting one of those machines.
Did
but-
you ever want an easy bake oven? Be honest.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I always
But-
just thought it was cool that you could make your own snacks. Like, it's crazy how fast time goes, or just the difference, I guess, between being an adult and a child. Because as a kid, it was completely foreign to me that as a 5 or 6 year old kid, you could make food that you could eat.
Yeah.
You know, so dependent on mom to make food. And now, I mean, the toys they have out now are just leaps and bounds beyond. Our toys were so simple, but they were funner.
I mean, honestly, the fact that I didn't like burn my fingerprints off of my hands with the creepy crawler machine is a miracle.
I have a feeling that half of those toys would not be allowed to be
no way.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
today's market. Now, all right, so who remembers those slap bracelets?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
They
Yeah.
have those-
Finger traps, basically
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the stuff you can get at the bowling
I
alley.
had to destroy one in a souvenir shop. I couldn't get my fingers out, and yeah, it was quite the scene.
What?
Quite
Just
the
like
scene.
kicking and screaming.
Oh,
No.
yeah, it was just
The
no
slap
doubt.
bracelets, the little army men with the parachutes. Like I'm just gonna for like this blitz round. I'm just gonna start throwing
They
out
still
90s
have
things.
those, though.
The plastic knives that would, go
Retract
in,
it,
when
yeah.
you stab somebody. I think somebody took one in the eyes while they quit making them.
Remember the swords and lightsabers that when you stab they like collapse?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
And then it looked like you were stabbing.
Yeah,
someone?
and
You
it was
think-
a lightsaber, so you turn it on and just fling it out. Yeah.
As sensitive as they are today, I bet you I mean, they might probably still make them, but I'm sure they're a lot more. Like people aren't fond of them these days because it's pretty much promoting stabbing through someone. That was the whole gimmick. Was
Yeah.
it looked like you were stabbing right into someone. And I feel like today they would be like, that's too violent.
Too violent.
The first thing like that I remember having was the HeMan Sword. I know that's kind of 80-ish, so maybe it was a hand-me-down toy, but that thing was sweet. Power of Grayskull. It had all the awesome sound effects that lit up.
There's lots of great 80s things that bled into the 90s.
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
Like He-Man's one of them. It came out in the 80s, but I mean, as a 90s kid, I remember having plenty of He-Man toys.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Ninja Turtles, like we said last
Yeah.
time, that the original came out in the late 80s and kind of went into the 90s, but still, that was, like I said, they just reran the crap out
Forever,
of it.
yeah.
It kind of became a 90s cartoon.
Green Day.
Green Day, super
That started in
90s.
the 80s?
No, that's not.
Oh, okay, so, yeah.
Yeah, Green Day.
They didn't start in that?
No, I don't know. I really wouldn't have. No, I would think they came out in the 90s.
Either
Clay,
way,
Google on your phone Green Day and see when they started.
that's definitely.
But Billy Joe's like aged well. I mean, he's in his
Oh, yeah.
40s, and I mean,
He looks
dude
good.
still looks like he should be like a high school age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks young. Is he your crush?
I'm gonna have him my man crush Monday next Monday.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Cool deal. Yeah.
do
Okay. So and you listen to Spice Girls, obviously. 86.
86, look at Jesse with the big
Wow,
facts,
high five.
man.
That's when Green Day came
Making
out.
us all look like fools.
I know stuff.
That is crazy. 1986.
Yikes.
How about that? I would not have picked.
Me neither.
Kudos for going that strong that long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not many bands that, I mean, some classic rock bands do, but I mean, a punk rock band, which was fairly taboo rock in itself then, that's pretty badass.
I love them.
That's awesome. Okay, so,
Spice Girls. Yeah, so I did listen. I was in a Spice Girls club when I was in elementary school.
so you were a huge Spice Girls
Yeah.
fan.
Can y'all guess which Spice Girl I was?
Sporty.
Yes.
Ooh, I was going to say scary.
Okay,
No.
if I was in a Spice Girl club now, I would be scary. So you guys are both on the money.
I've got present Jesse, you've got past Jesse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
you
remember.
knew past Jesse, and you really only know present Jesse.
For the most part.
You
yeah.
didn't know me back
No.
in the day.
I know many different incarnates of Jesse.
Oh, yeah.
What would be your favorite?
Please say the one now.
No, the one now is awesome too. I don't know. They all were unique in their own different ways.
Early 20s Jessie, she was very inconsiderate. She used to eat the brownie bites out of my Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
I
And I
did.
just had this mangled cup of ice cream, and I'd be like, where are my brownie bites?
Okay, listen, I can't
she
eat
ate 'em.
ice cream. I can eat brownies, though.
So get your own ice, get your own pint.
And just pick the brownies out of that.
Yeah.
I'll never do it again, I promise.
Well, yeah, because I'll never put my ice cream in your freezer again. That's for sure.
I'm a terrible person.
That is an empty promise, definitely.
Which I guess they were late '90s. I guess Blink-182 was a big thing in my life. Like that's one of those bands I'll just never be able to hate, even though Tom's no longer a part of it now. And
I was way late to the party on that, but I definitely enjoy them.
yeah, I remember when they first came out, which I can't lie and say I was from the beginning because they had like Josie and Damn It and all that was out. I really got into them when they got kind of mainstream with What's My Age Again. But I'm one of those people when I hear about someone if they've got older stuff, then I'll just go ahead and get their older stuff.
Yeah, why not?
And that's what I did with them. But I mean, like for the first little band I was ever in was with a guy named Dane and a guy named Brandon. But what we played pretty much was Blink 182. I mean, like, that's who we wanted to be, was Blink 182.
It's not a bad aspiration.
That's good life goals right there.
Oh.
I know. I remember seeing them when I was like 16, and it was crazy.
Did it blow your mind?
It was. I mean, then it was insanity. I mean, they were like in their underwear, and
That's awesome.
you know, they just like were like, it was just crazy. Because back then, the cool thing, I guess people still are trying to push the envelope, but man, coming out of the 90s into the 2000s, people were pushing the envelope in so many crazy ways then, because it was still kind of like the world was in this Bible Belt, you know, to where things like running down the street butt naked censored was like, you know, I mean, I remember their video for What's My Age Again. You know, nowadays, how many videos probably have people running around naked and blurred? But when Blink-182 did it and Alanis Morissette did it both, it was kind of like everyone stopped to look at this video because it was like they're actually naked.
Matt and Kim did it too.
Yes, they did.
But that was very recent.
Yes, they did. That was recent. But I love Matt and Kim. I feel like they would have fit into the 90s really well.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have.
And yeah, and like we talked about in our private moments, it was so crazy having the CDs with the parental advisory thing.
Yeah.
And it was like black market kind of stuff. You got to find that older buddy to get you this CD.
I remember that, man. My parents did not let me have. I look at my little brother there, and they pretty much let him watch or do whatever. When I was 13, 14, like I had this little locker my parents gave me. They gave my sister one too. It had like a little plastic lock with a combination on it, and that's where I would store like my CDs, like my Eminem and just stuff that I knew I shouldn't have. And they found it, and they would get rid of them. And then I would, like Joey, for instance, Joey that's normally on the podcast was a member of a CD club, and I don't know how that worked out then. But you remember those when people were a member of CD and movie clubs?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, you basically could buy like 10 CDs and you would get like 10 more for half off. You know, it was like you got really crazy deals. But when he would order a bunch of CDs, I'd get him to order me CDs with parental advisory. And it was like dealing drugs.
Yeah.
But in music, I was like, here's $30 of my allowance money.
I remember
that new Eminem.
My allowance.
my cousin
And
would
Nelly.
get so pissed off. He was like the rap guy, and come his birthday or whatever, they would get him like the ones that are censored or whatever,
Right.
like Nelly Country Grammar, and it was just like a slap in the face because it's his favorite music, but it's totally butchered.
Yeah.
I remember, my parents did not. Now my dad, it's crazy. My dad listens to Eminem and likes Eminem now in his late 40s. But however, when he was in his early to mid 30s, when I was in middle school and high school, they got me the Blink-182 single one year, All the Small Things. And it also, remember singles? They used to come with like the single and have like one or two tracks from the album. And it had a song on there called Eminem's. And they almost didn't give it to me because they thought that meant Eminem was on the song.
Yeah.
Safe assumption.
And, and it's crazy, though, how it shapes because Eminem is probably one of my favorite rappers.
Me
and,
too.
which, I mean, he's really good, but it probably comes so much. And even then, I mean, remember back when Eminem came out, the stuff that he was doing then was just like, other people were doing it too, but I mean, it's just like that song White America. It was just.
Yeah, he took it to another
it was
level, no
such
doubt.
Taboo, and parents were like, you shouldn't listen to that, and blah, 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 blah. And then
I'm pretty sure the real Slim Shady, the video where he's on the conveyor belt and he's got the boner. I'm pretty sure I saw that like censored one time where, you can't tell he's got the boner.
Yeah.
And I was like, man.
When I got my first job at Goodwill, my first paycheck I went and bought an Eminem CD.
Yeah, I bought Eminem's. If you're listening, Marshall, I bought your Slim Shady LP about 4 different times because every time I bought it, my parents found it and got rid of it, and I had to buy it again because it was a really good. You think you're 14-ish, and the stuff that he was talking about on that album was so out there. I mean, he was talking about killing people and like doing these crazy drugs and just saying the F word to say it. Stuff that you weren't supposed to be saying and doing, and which obviously shouldn't be killing people, but you know what I mean, like you. Yeah, and then so I mean, listening to that, and my parents would take it, and I'd be like, "Oh hell no!" And then I would buy it again. And
that probably accounted for like a fourth of his album sales. Just parents, burning his albums and having to kids rebuying them.
He's smart.
You go back and you watch like shows from the 90s and stuff. Like I watched Fresh Prince, and you don't remember people dressing like that. You know what I mean? Like I'll see the stuff, and I remember it. Like when you think back, but you just don't realize how different things are now from then in terms of. Just everything. Go back, which Saved by the Bell was like 80s into the 90s, I think. But you go back and watch like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
And it just is mind-blowing how different that is from,
I was just watching Friends the other night and noticed how the way the girls dress, that's how girls dress now.
Like it's coming back around.
Yeah, yeah.
High-waisted jeans, cut off, like
when I was a
crop
kid,
tops.
my dad
Colored
told
denim.
me, he said everything comes back around. And it did, because when I was a kid and when Jessie was a kid, even if she didn't wear them, I know a lot of the girls were wearing like the flared bottom jeans.
Yeah.
And that's that's coming off of like the 70s bell bottoms, like a milder bell bottom. And everything comes back around.
I saw this girl in acid wash jeans the other day.
No kidding.
I think that's more 80s, but still, I was blown away with that.
I used to have a pair of
I have
acid wash.
some that are like, really like sanded and all of that. I mean, they kind of came back big in like part of the 2000s too, and then they've kind of went away, and I think now they're starting to come back. Celebrities wear them.
That stuff kind of kills me though, man. Like, I spend a lot of time in thrift stores trying to find that vintage, I'm not going for a look, but like I like funky old sweaters, and now you go to American Eagle or something, and it's just mass produced, and it just really bums me out.
Well, the thing is too, it's mass produced, and it's not like it's any better quality. Like, it's not like like, for instance, you can buy guitars that are come pre-road worn, which I think is kind of pointless, because you should put your own scars on your own guitar.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can buy them like that, but at least those, they have like coats and stuff on them to help them from getting worse. No, you go buy like ripped up jeans from American Eagle, and they, after washing them, those holes spread, they get worse. I mean, it's not like you're paying all of that money for the look and it's going to last you. Whereas you can go to a thrift store, pay like a third the price, and it's already damaged, but it's, going to give you the same effect.
The cool thing about getting your clothes from thrift stores instead of American Eagle, even though they look the same now, is when people ask you where did they come from, like, where'd you get your shirt? I got it from Goodwill.
That's right.
I love when people ask me that. You can't get this shirt because it's like 30 years old.
This was some old guys.
Yeah.
I've got a great backstory for this teal green members only jacket I've got. It's like the
members only.
Yeah, the hardest gangster in Jersey got popped while he was wearing it, and it's kind of like The Mask, where his spirit's in it. So when I zip it up, like I am, he possesses me.
You become a gangster.
Yeah.
The hardest one ever.
The hardest one
ever. Do you feel his
ever.
pain as you do you feel it?
I do. I become Uncle Leggy.
Do you get headaches? And
I reached in the inner pocket and I was pricked by a toothpick, and I pull it out and I just look at it. And I'm like, it all starts coming back to me, starts entering me. I put it in my mouth.
Oh my
man.
God.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Man, that is awesome.
You're one of a kind.
Members only. Gosh,
I have a burgundy one. Look, it's hard to find members only jackets to fit me because I'm a girl, and usually they're too big. But I found one in Richmond, and I can't remember what color. It was like some blue color, but it was a really cool color, and it was my size and everything. And I ended up having to sell it for rent money or something. And I was really upset about it. But I have a burgundy one that I found at the Goodwill in South Boston like last year.
How much does a members only jacket go for?
I don't know.
What did you get for
kidding.
it?
I mean,
you paid the rent with the members only jacket?
Oh, no, I had to sell a bunch of stuff, but that was one of the things I had to sell.
Members only, I don't know why, because he wasn't talking about it, but y'all both know who Mitch Hedberg is, right?
Yeah.
A comedian. Probably my favorite comedian of all time.
I don't know this guy. Mitch Hedberg?
You have to look him up.
Oh, you probably. Very dry, just actually a stand-up comic. Like, he didn't necessarily go into these long rants where the whole, he just told jokes. He got on stage, told jokes, and was very stage shy.
For example.
What I was going to say was, you can tell that, but what I was going to say was he has this one bit where he's like, man, I was made a club sandwich the other day, and nobody even asked me to join. Like he's like, somehow I'm in their club, and I think about that with members only. I'm like, wait a minute, you can just go buy it at a store. Does that mean that we're all members of this club that wears these jackets?
How do you get those? I mean, like, what is a members only jacket? What are members only? What is this?
It probably started off as to make people feel like they were exclusive to something, and then.
A buddy of mine at work, he's got one, but it's like the knockoff. It's like World Traveler, and those have to be even more rare,
I've never heard of those.
Yeah, it's a generic members only, but it's World Traveler. It doesn't say members only. It's World Traveler.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
How do you like that?
Bugle Boy jeans. I think we talked about those last time.
Yeah.
Seriously. With that, jeez, like just thinking about the acid wash, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And then like white Air Force One or like Nikes, with the high tops, when the jeans like went into the shoe. Well, and skinny jeans have come back with acid wash. Like I see some rock bands rocking like skinny, which I don't think they quite wore them that tight in the 90s, but I think it's crazy.
Well, they were like real jeans back then. Now they're just super stretchy, so they look tight.
Every country singer had a mullet.
Yeah.
Lest we forget about the 90s country mullet. John Michael Montgomery, Tracy Lawrence, Alan Jackson, Clay Walker.
Travis Tritt.
Kenny Chesney even had a mullet. Toby Keith, I think, still has a mullet, or did. The mullet, man. Like,
What about-
country music. You could not be a country star if
It was
you did not
standard,
have a
yeah.
mullet.
Who is that lady with the red hair and the big boobs?
No, you're thinking about Dolly Parton infused with Reba McEntire. Reba McEntire has red hair, and Dolly Parton has big boobs.
Yeah.
Wow, you know your stuff.
I have to know.
That is.
These-
You're thinking about Dolly Parton infused with Reba McEntire.
Which is funny because one of our DJs will get on and be like, all right, coming up next, this lady had some humongous hits in country music. I'm talking about Dolly Parton.
That's funny.
Yeah, so you were thinking, which Reba was really huge in the 90s, too.
Yeah.
She even had like a sitcom, I
Yeah.
think, back in the 90s.
She was totally a crossover star.
I hear, too, that she's really cool. I've talked to people that worked on her road crews and stuff and said that, after like a big show or something, she'd get a bottle of Jack and they'd all just kick back and
What?
enjoy the night.
She
Yeah.
seems like she'd be really personable.
Super, really nice person.
Kickback Jack. Sorry, I had
I
to.
think your brain makes connections.
You know what? Every time I think of her, I think of Little Rascals when she's the race car driver.
Reba
Oh,
McEntire
yes.
was?
Yes, she was.
On the
Yes,
Little
she-
Rascals
Yeah.
movie.
The Little Rascals movies. Yep, and the little like the box car was it go-karts that they would
It was
race
little
around the
box
town.
car.
Man,
Like.
I
Yeah,
watched
'cause
that
she
movie
was like
to
a famous
death.
racer. She
And
was
you
to
never
death.
noticed?
I love Spanky.
Well, she kisses them on the cheek at the end.
yeah.
Man.
And I think it's crazy at Pitbull Mania today. Everybody's terrified of pit bulls, but what was their dog? Was his name Petey?
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah.
pit
He
bull.
was
Yeah,
a pit
that's
bull.
right.
Yeah, no, Reba, I completely forgot. She was the driver at the very end. You never saw her face, and I think they assumed she was a dude the whole time.
Yeah, because she has a boy name. I can't
And then
remember.
she took off the thing, and they're like, "You're a girl," and I think that was kind of like broke the barrier between the He-Man
Yeah.
and
Whoa.
Woman Hayden Club.
Did you realize that Whoopi Goldberg was in there?
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen it. No,
And,
no clue.
And Buckwheat was her son. And then she said something to him, and he goes, "Whoopi."
Huh.
Like
And then
it's a-
she did like the little
Yeah.
thing that they do.
She didn't have any
Man,
eyebrows.
movies just don't.
Yikes.
I miss the quality camera, like Field of Dreams. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, definitely
Was
saw
that
that.
80s or 90s? Was that 90s?
That's a good question. I'm not so sure.
I don't know. It's really good. Like
I don't even
Sandlot.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, like 90s.
Little Giants.
90 Little Giants, The Big Green. Like 90s movies just had this feel to them, and it was kind of used a lot, but it worked. Whereas in today's
Yeah.
world, when they keep reusing the same stuff, it don't. 90s movies were just.
And you
on
know
point.
what was big in the 90s too was like the deadbeat dad, making him like the reluctant hero of a movie. Like I
Right.
remember there was one with Macaulay Culkin and Ted Danson as dad, and he's really a bank robber. And there was one with the dude that played Al Bundy. He was another one.
Oh, he was in Little Giants. He was the uncle of Rick
Yeah.
Moranis was his brother, and it was Al Bundy was like the douchebag, like hotshot football player. His
Yeah.
brother was. I love Little Giants. That was freaking
We gotta
awesome.
man. We should have a '90s music.
Movies.
Blah,
man.
blah.
Y'all
The
know what I'm
Sandlot
trying to
was
say.
awesome. I cannot tell you how many
Angels in
times
the
I've watched it.
Outfield. That
And
was a good one.
It's hard to believe that that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a kid.
I don't know
that.
who that is.
Yikes.
Who was that?
He's
What
in
is-
a lot. Inception. He's also in the movie with Bruce Willis where what is it? Not Looper.
I know who you're talking about.
What is it called? Yeah. He was in. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's really good. He was in
And-
the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Or
He was in
The
Angels
one-
in the Outfield.
yeah, he was a little kid.
Okay, I was thinking Sandlot. All right, so that makes sense.
Yep, he was. He's been in a lot more than I'm bringing. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. But he's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's actually a really good actor. He's pretty good.
Yeah, it was really weird. I was trying to compile a list of my
Looper.
favorite movies from the 90s, and I'm like, as an adult, I'm thinking like Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Bad Lieutenant. But then I'm thinking about the movies I actually loved when I was in the 90s, and I'm thinking like Ace Ventura 2.
Oh yeah, they're definitely.
And,
I
you
got to
know.
watch Ace Ventura, the first one, this weekend, and man, I loved like '90s Jim, which all Jim Carrey incarnates I like, but he
Yeah.
was awesome. I mean, like no one could have done Ace Ventura like he did.
I like the second one. That's one of the rare sequels, man. I love it even more than the
Oh,
first
yeah,
one. It was
yeah.
just so over the top. The Guano Shikaka or whatever. Man, I had to have watched that movie a million times.
He's like, what is it? What did they? Well, that was actually going off before the first one came on. They played it backwards on TV, but
Yeah.
they did. I just remember back then when I was a kid, sex scenes, even in the '90s, weren't quite as animated as they are now. Because on that, him and Rachel, not Rachel, him and what's her name from Friends? Monica was her name on Friends. What was
No,
it? Courtney
Friends
Cox.
guy.
Courtney Cox and Jim Carrey make Whoopi in that, but it had that song "In the Jungle."
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's
It
right.
was like 3 times. That's amazing or something. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not tired or something. And he,
Ace Ventura was a dynamo, no doubt about it.
Like, I remember that as a kid. I was like, they were having sex.
He deflowered the African queen
At the
and all
very
that.
end,
Yeah.
It's like, they can tell that?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all know at the end of, I don't know which one it is, but they find out that the lady's a dude and he like pulls up
That's the first one, yeah.
and the dick is like tucked so you can see
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's
when
right.
I was a kid, I thought it was a turd.
Does anyone know whether or not that was actually a dude playing a chick? Or
You know,
that was
I got no
actually a
clue.
chick? 'Cause
Probably
it looked
not.
pretty chick-like. I mean,
I doubt it was a dude playing a chick.
Ray Finkel. But I love on Ace Ventura too. One of my favorite comedy scenes of all time ever is the Rhino, where he's in the Rhino and the AC goes off and he has to like emerge from the butt, and it's like, look, the mommy Rhino's giving birth, and then you see Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
soaking
that was
wet.
that was a great movie. I love the first scene, man. It's the cliffhanger parody, and he's climbing up there to save the raccoon, and the chopper comes up, and he's like, I wouldn't be doing this if I were you for a raccoon, and Jim Carrey just turns around and he's like, well, if you were me, then I'd be you, and I'd use your body to get to the top. Who? Sir. And the raccoon dies, sadly.
That's a good Jim Carrey.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I loved Ace Ventura. I like Liar Liar. That was a great 90s movie.
Another deadbeat dad movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really was a recurring theme in just
It
about all
was,
of them. This
yeah.
deadbeat dad that could never. It's always the dad. It's never a deadbeat mom that can't get her act together.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
can
true.
name a lot of them.
In real life?
Let's hear him.
Eminem's mom.
Yeah.
There's one. But yeah, in real life, yeah, that too.
Okay. Yeah. I don't say because I can't remember many movies with it. Because mom usually the way it was with the dad, if he was single or even he was like a deadbeat. But if the mom was single, she was like this strong.
Yeah.
Like character, like this positive ray of light, whereas the dad was someone everybody expected to fail because he could just never get it right. And then it was like JP had said, I think off camera we was talking about, to be the stepdad.
Yeah, you're a total douche, but I mean, you are supporting the family. You're this great guy.
You're
but
super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice. You have a good job. You make good money. You treat the kids. Usually there was a kid, obviously.
Yeah.
And they treat the kid very well. But so basically 90s movies told us as children, nice guys finish last.
Oh, yeah.
You go to college, you grow up, get a stable career, you treat women with respect, raise their kids as your own, and they're going to totally leave you to fall back in love with their douchebag ex who finally gets it together for just a moment.
Just a bookmark.
We didn't realize the BS they were putting in our heads in the 90s.
It's true. I wonder if that was their plan to like sabotage the nuclear family.
And
you know?
I don't know numbers because I'm sure if I say, because we were kids, so we didn't hear about it as much then, but it feels like there are more divorces now than there were then. Do you think perhaps the movie industry got into our heads?
Does art imitate life, or is life imitating art? You tell me, Jesse. You're the artist. I don't know.
I think of art and life kind of like as a, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but it's kind of like a bungee cord, kind of like it goes like back and forth. Like all art starts off imitating life, and then life starts, but then it expands upon what it's imitated and makes it what we want it to be. So then life starts imitating art, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah,
it's like the little ball. I wish I had one of those, the little metal balls that hang, and you let one go, and it just went.
It's like I hate being around those people who talk as if there's a camera on them and they're on a TV show,
Yeah.
And then I think, well, am I one of those guys? Am I just better at it than they are? I don't know.
What is that? The Truman Show.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, I was watching a thing on the internet about movies that are basically copies of each other and which one won out. And, I didn't even realize then. I remember ads for both, but I completely forgot. Remember, you had The Truman Show and you had Ed TV.
Yeah, with Woody Harrelson. Well, he wasn't the star, though, was he? He was in it.
I cannot remember even who was the main star, but it's like they said it was a really good movie, but it's just The Truman Show had a lot more heart. I mean, the other one was much more comedy-based, more or less, and The Truman Show was comedy, but it had it made you think at the very end,
I've never seen that.
You've never seen The Truman Show?
No, I've never
Ed
seen
TV.
Ed TV.
Yeah,
I
saw bits
don't
and
remember
pieces.
all of it. I just remember reading a review where they were talking about just because just like nowadays you have Paul Blart and then you have that movie with Seth
Observe and
Rogen,
Report, which
Observe and
I
Report.
loved way more. It's
Oh,
so
yeah,
darker.
I'm just not. I like Kevin James, okay, but Paul Blart. I think the reason I've got such a bad taste in my mouth is we went to go see a horror movie, which Jesse knows I love horror movies, new and old. And we were going to go see My Bloody Valentine or something. And I was super stoked to see it. We get there and they're sold out.
Darn.
So then they're like, "Do y'all just want to see Paul Blart?" And I was like, "I don't want to see stupid Paul Blart."
Yeah.
And the whole movie, which I might have been laughing, but I was sitting here going, "This is stupid." You know, I was being the negative Nancy. Like I didn't want to see it. I rode all the way to North Carolina to Palace Point. You know, a good 30, 45-minute drive because I wanted to see a horror movie in 3D, which was just starting to get big back then, like the
3D.
mid early 2000s. You know, like 2005, 6-ish. And it was like I was super excited. Instead, I get stuck with Paul Blart.
Yeah, that's pretty disappointing.
And my years might be off, but I remember we went to see Something Scary. I'm pretty sure it was My Bloody Valentine, and I ended up having to watch Paul Blart. And it's like people were laughing, even the people I was with were laughing, and I'm like,
I think even if I had the option between Paul Blart and a horror movie, I would pick the horror movie.
yeah, it's like I'm not like with it's cool to hate Kevin James. Kevin James is kind of like the Nickelback of actors. It's like there are people that just hate him solely because everyone tells you you're supposed to. Kevin James, King of Queens, was a funny show.
I was gonna say it's kind of weird because I liked King of Queens, but when he started his movie career, man, it's just like I couldn't get in.
Some of his stuff got just kind of generic, but it's like, you know, Kevin James I found is one of those actors. It does not matter what movie he does, they're gonna just destroy him. Nickelback could come out with an album that, you know, we don't even realize that we would, you know, that is just groundbreaking. Like Chad Kroeger is actually a genius when he wrote. I don't really like Nickelback either. I don't hate them like everyone else does, but they're not really somebody I listen to.
Yeah.
But Chad Kroeger, when he wrote "How You Remind Me," before he wrote that, you know, we were talking about how most popular songs are happy accidents. He sat there. I read a whole article on this. He sat there for months and studied popular culture and rock, pop, what was charting, and said, I'm going to write a #1 song. And then he wrote, after months of research and like actual effort, not just writing down crap, he wrote "How You Remind Me," and the sucker went to #1. So very few artists can say they write a song while they're still not even known for being that big of artists. Nickelback wasn't. That's the song that put him on the map. And he was like, I'm going to write a #1. And sat down and wrote that. But Kevin James is kind of like the Nickelback of actors. It's like whatever he's in. Like Adam Sandler, I've gotten to the point when he's in a new movie, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, the last Adam Sandler movie I remember liking was Big Daddy, I think. I
Yeah.
don't think I've really dug him since then.
those were the better, like the 90s, the later 90s.
And
Adam
the
Sandler
bad,
movies.
it sucks when a comedian like gets a little older and starts a family, and he's like, well, you know, I still want to do comedy, but I want to be comedy my
Family
kids
friendly.
can watch. You know, I want to watch this with my
I
kids.
think we
and
feel
yeah.
the exact same about Grown Ups.
Yeah.
Like I watched Grown Ups too, and I hated it. Like I hated.
Did you watch the first one?
Yeah, the first one I laughed my butt off, but now that I go back and watch it, I don't find it as good. I went and saw it in theaters. I think that helped. Theaters always make things funnier.
Yeah.
And then when nowadays, you pay like $15 to see a movie, I think you kind of force yourself to laugh. But which really like 11, 12. But when I saw the second one, it was like I hate it was that whole like touching ending where everyone comes together and it's like, come on, man, you're the guy that wrote a song or wrote a skit called Cock and Balls.
Yeah.
On his stand-up comedy. Grandma, you should get your cock and balls.
That was the first album I bought with the parental advisory on it. Yeah.
That's who you are, and now you make family. It's like Ice Cube, OG to family movies. I mean, it's Adam Sandler. And what's bad is Adam Sandler. If you he had some Click was actually really good. He actually had some.
I
good movies.
never
made
got
me
around to
cry.
seeing that.
Yeah, Click was good. It had like some heart to it, and then he actually had a movie. What is it called? Punch Drunk Love. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I'm aware of it. But never saw
Way
it.
different Adam Sandler. But yeah, so much conversation that can be had when in relation. Which I like this podcast. I mean, I know we were 90s themed. I feel like we kind of went all over the place, but I do feel like it had a very 90s at heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It always went back to the 90s.
Yeah, it always went back. Good way to think it. I mean, I feel like we could have like part 3, part 4, part 5, maybe like every couple of podcasts we should just pick up on the 90s. So like we've done it the last 2. The next podcast or 2 we'll pick a different subject, and then we'll come back and pick right back up at the 90s.
So much ground to cover.
We can sit down. I'll actually sit down and listen and find the things that we did and didn't
Yeah.
talk about in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like have a list. Maybe I can give you guys like a thing where it's like, favorite movie, favorite cartoon. That's what we'll do. I'll make a fact sheet, and we'll do that with our next 90s podcast. That'll ask you like favorite cartoon, favorite movie, favorite, just all 90s questions. And we can go through that together on the next 90s podcast.
Cool.
But don't forget to subscribe, to like us on Facebook, to follow us on Instagram, to follow us on Twitter, which Twitter is kind of harder to find because it's like J4 D is something. I think if you look J's for Days, you'll be able to find it. But follow us on all that. Follow us on Clamor, CLAMMR, to get little tidbits, and you can listen to the podcast there. And send us your suggestions. You got any subjects? We'll cover them, unless they're like super religious or political.
Yeah.
We're not trying to have the Rush Limbaugh fan base just quite yet, or lack thereof. But yeah, so that wraps up podcast number 16.
Yep.
16 weeks we've been doing this. Holy cow. JP, thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure.
Feel free to come by next week.
I hope I can make it.
Any weeks, And wear your members only jacket one time, man.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Next week.
Yeah, next week, actually, there may or may not be a podcast. I'll update a day or two before because Jesse is going to be absent. This studio, in which I completely have permission to use, is going to be being used for some kind of photo shoot or something. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get in here or not. JP will let you know. And if not, you'll know. But if there's not one, there will be one the following week. Like by missing that week, we haven't quit. We just kind of didn't have our studio. Maybe I can push it back a few nights or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Well, I know I have to work every day that week.
Jessie has to make money to support her
I'm
child,
going to see
thinking
Sublime.
only of herself.
I'm not working Thursday because I'm going to be in Richmond and watching Sublime play their music. So.
And if you can feed Sublime, I thought.
The lead singer died.
Yeah, how does that
they have a
work?
new lead singer.
I'm not really sure. It's happening.
He don't practice Santeria. All right, good.
Layla's going.
I need to put that on my beach playlist. Note to myself when I go home. Yeah, but okay. JP, once again, awesome having you. You rock. Jesse, thanks for joining me.
Always.
Us. And we'll see you next week. Maybe.
Bye.
Possibly.